What's up, everybody? It's Tuesdays here, and I am Eli, and today I have a special guest, my friend Ash from the center, from the LGBT center at my school. So, Ash, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Say your name and pronouns.
My pronouns are they and them, and my name is Ash Preston, and I'm some genderqueer, agender, masculine type thing.
Yes, and also my school big brother. So this week, the topic is monogamy versus polyamory. And I don't really like the verses, so we're going to drop it because I think we can all exist in harmony. So it's monogamy and polyamory. And I am monogamous.
But I'm polyamorous.
So we're going to talk about the differences. So first, my definition of monogamy is being with one partner at a time in a varying committed way. Having to only be with that person for a agreed upon amount of time for your whole relationship, and only having sex usually with that person and being like on that level of intimacy with that person. What is your definition of monogamy, friend?
Monogamy?
Just kidding. Polyamory, friend.
Okay. Polyamory for me is being in relationships with multiple different people. These relationships can have like different levels of intimacy. Some of them are just romantic, while some of them can be sexual as well. Some are just sexual. Like multiple relationships, and then everyone is aware of the relationships that are happening. So it's not like, oh, I'm dating like Eli hypothetically, and I have this like side person who Eli doesn't know about. That's not what happens. Everyone knows about everybody, and it's a really big communication thing. So
very cool. So I'll go experience-wise. I'll ask you a question and then I'll answer it because I'll be a little like a self-moderator plus a participant. So in your experience being polyamorous, how has it worked out with you, like relationship-wise? Like what is an example of kind of as our friend Robbie informed me, a great terminology, like the mappings of your relationships?
The mappings of my relationship. So most of the time when I date people, I tend to date. I've only ever dated up to 2 people at a time, and that's not necessarily by choice, just like kind of what's happened. I'd be willing to date more than 2 people, but most of the time, what it looks like, I've only really experienced 2 or 3-ish kinds of the dynamics I've experienced where I have a primary, which means this is the person who I give most of my time to, who I am most focused on when it comes down to all the relationships. They are kind of raised above everyone else. And everyone else is a little bit like, their importance is a little bit lower. Not to mean that like they're less of a person or like I don't care about them at the same amount. It's just that it's just less intimacy. It's more focused on the one main person who's my primary. And then what I'm experiencing right now, and what I think I'm liking a lot more is basically having everyone on an equal footing. I realized, I think with the primary, I really didn't like how it's pretty much like hierarchy, and like that's really like bullshit, and like a lot of problematics can go into that. So I just figured out that that's not really what I like. I really like everyone being on equal footing, like trying to give everyone the same equal amount of time, while still like recognizing things like when you start a new relationship with someone, like you're gonna spend more time with them naturally, just because you're trying to get to know each other compared to someone you know already. But like still trying to balance it. So those are my 2 mappings that I've experienced.
Very good. I'm monogamous, but everybody pretty much knows about monogamy. That's why I'm more explaining polyamory, because I feel that's way more misunderstood in social settings. Monogamy is pretty easy to figure out. I'm monogamous right now actively, I guess. I don't know if you could be like inactively monogamous. I don't know if that's is that a thing? I guess because like my love state.
Yeah, your romance is fluid and like your sexuality is fluid.
Yeah.
So like I would assume that like everything else is allowed to be fluid. At least that's how I define life. And so like you can be monogamous at one point with one person, like that's how you feel with this person. But you can be with another person and be like, okay, I definitely need to be polyamorous with this person, because it's not like, not that there's anything wrong with the relationship, but just like that's how you like it feels.
Yeah.
So like that's a thing.
Okay.
Like,
so yeah, right now I am monogamous because definitely like when I'm single, I consider monogamy like to activate for me. Like for me, people can identify anyway, but like for me, it like activates when I'm in a relationship, because when I'm single, it doesn't extend to that. Like I don't only focus on one person at a time when I'm single. When I'm single, I feel that it's free range as long as everybody is informed and consent is given. Like, I'm gonna date you, I'm gonna date you, I'm gonna date you until we like lock it up in some sort of like understanding or conversation. Then like it's like monogamy, engage, goodbye other people, I'm sorry, but you knew this could happen. We talked about it. Bye.
Another mapping that I've actually realized I just thought about that I've done is kind of more of what people I guess would consider an open relationship, but I still consider it underneath like the monogamy umbrella, where like I have this one person who I'm dating, and then but I am free to sleep with anyone else I want. So like here's my main person, like we're romantic and stuff like that, but I have like multiple sexual partners. I just hook up with people, things like that, and like that's kind of how it is. So it's almost like the primary knot, but and it's also kind of goes with like explain the fact that like it's still monogamy because or not monogamy, still polyamory. Because you're having a relationship with these people, it might just be sexual, but it's still a relationship in some way, even if it's a one-night stand.
I agree with that. Yeah, especially for me, with like my version of monogamy, like everything in my life is super fluid. So like, it's when I'm in a relationship and I've established that, then that's set in stone. But like, if I'm not in a relationship yet, it can have varying, like I could be veering towards monogamy with somebody, and that for me means the emotional intimacy is amping up. But if one person, I might be seeing more, but if it's just sexual, then I don't like, it doesn't factor in. And so like I always have conversations with like whoever I'm with, but like say in the beginning of this year, I was seeing a few people, and like one started to get emotionally amped up, and so then I let the physical people drop out because like we had already had an agreement that like, hey, this is physical until one of us like finds something or this turns into something. Cool. Let's do last question. What are some common misconceptions of polyamory or some problems you see in the representation of polyamory?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it doesn't work. That you don't see people think that polyamory is like for like younger crowds, like older people don't do it.
Everything's for the young kids these days.
All fellas. But that it's just a fad, or that it's just people who are horny and people who just want to sleep around, which is completely fine. You can do whatever you want with your body. But like that's the biggest thing I see, because like I don't think there's a lot of representation as far as like older couples, and when it is, it's like it's things like sister wives, which is like not representation. It's not polyamory.
Not
it's like something completely weird and different and gross. Never got into because it just sounded weird because it's one man marrying a bunch of women.
Yeah, that's more about like domination in a not fun way.
I also feel like polyamory, for at least in my experience, seems like it's very much more popular within the queer community. I feel like people who are straight and like heteronormative tend to think in very like monogamous terms. They think very much like, oh, I'm going to date this one person because then I'm going to get married to this one person, and it's only going to be this one person forever, and then they get divorced. And like polyamory is much more open in like queer communities, because it's like, oh, like I'm like, someone could be like bisexual or queer or like pansexual, and they like multiple genders. Maybe they want to date multiple genders at the same time, and that's why I think it's more popular. Also, a big misconception I think is that it's always destined to fail. That like it's never gonna work out. That's why you don't see people who are older. Which there are people who are older who are polyamorous. Like I've met a bunch of people. I think it's just different dynamics, especially once you get older, and like if kids get involved and stuff like that. Like some things can be difficult. And
also, that like ending something with one person in your polyamorous relationship, or that like you're also dating, not necessarily like a triad or a quad, means failure.
Right.
Like the nature of fluidity is that some things fade out where other things like come in. Like I don't think it's a failure if you stop dating somebody.
And it definitely isn't. It's just how life happens. Yeah. Like you're not gonna be with someone forever. And it's like you're one person, which I don't even know that's a thing for me. That's also a thing. But yeah, it's always just people think it's this failure, and it's not. As long as you like do it right, which is like basically just having communication skills, then that's really what it needs to be, and understanding like levels of intimacy and like communication. That's all like that's like the basis of being poly. Yeah,
and I think with monogamy, I think that there's this like weird heteronormative version of monogamy that, I mean, it works if you're cool and awesome and cis and straight and like heteronormative monogamy works for you and you're not hurting anybody, cool. But like for me, it's destructive in like my circles and for me, and like the way that it like pigeonholes you into like, there's like such gender roles that are like deeply embedded in the roots of like heteronormative monogamy that I'm not down with. So more like queer-centric monogamy and more open-minded, and like there is no roles. It does not matter the genders. Like that does not factor. The only like tied to my relationship part of monogamy is that there's one person. Like all the other BS I like to wipe away forever. All right, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. I'm super stoked to have Ash on my channel. Thank you so much for showing up.
No problem.
And I hope you enjoyed this and have a great rest of your week. This is an example of polyamory. We're polyamoring right now.
Literally polyamoring as we speak.
Yes,
A lot of things happening. I'm the primary because I'm in the forefront.
I
don't know what that
primary?
means. I don't know. Let's figure that out.
Oh, so Ash and Robbie are primary, and I just like to get passed around.
Eli likes to watch. What?
All right, and we're done.